By the Rugby Football League and Super League for the 2026 Betfred Super League. So what does Super League Raw make of these fixtures? Well, first and foremost, let's give the Rugby Football League a massive round of applause, a huge round of applause. What a lovely morning, by the way. Crisp. York Knights, my apologies, taking on the Robins, the champions. What a great move that is. You're absolutely brilliant. York's first time in the Super League, and what did they do? They give them the champions. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Easy sell. KR themselves could sell that stadium out, no problem whatsoever. Now it's about York building some razzmatazz. The champions are coming to town. What a great start to Super League that one is going to be for York, and how competitive are they going to be as well? It's going to be a fascinating game. And again, there's a big question mark, isn't there, for you Robins fans? Don't get too giddy going into that, because how many of those players will the players be full throttle? You'd expect that they would be, but will it be a fully? Will he go with his strongest squad? Will he show York that level of respect? I think he probably will. But let's not forget, there's a World Club Challenge and Vegas around the corner for the Robins. So that's going to be interesting to see Willie Peters' starting selection in that game. Will they go full throttle? Will they hold a few back? And of course, how competitive York are going to be. So what a great narrative that is on the 12th of February to get the season underway. Then of course we go to the Catalan Dragons, Huddersfield Giants. Of course, these two teams last year had a torrid 2025, didn't they? Let's be crystal clear on that. Really poor season for both teams. Catalan, underwhelming. The signings that they made didn't produce. Of course, Steve McNamara sacked after round 11 and St Helens 40 points to nil. They then went on to lose another 2 games by nil before drubbing to the champions, the Robins. I mean, it was a real bad season, wasn't it, for the Catalan Dragons? They'll want to bounce back, as will Joel Tompkins. And then on the other side of that, it's Huddersfield Giants, Luke Robinson. Huddersfield Giants last season, injury plagued, really struggled. It's going to be fascinating to see how these two teams tussle. They'll both want to get out the traps really quickly. Nobody likes to go over to the south of France for the first game of the league. They'd rather it be a home fixture, of course they would. But that's going to be a real interesting game for the purists. Which one of those two teams look better in that opening fixture? That's going to be one not to be missed. And then 2 absolute blockbusters. Oh yes, I mean, again, the Friday fixtures clashing. I mean, there was the scope. I mean, only one game is being played on Sunday. Why couldn't there have been 2 on Sunday? Why did we have a clash at 8 p.m. On the Friday? Big question mark there. I know what I'll be doing. I'll be watching the red button one and recording the one that's live on Sky. Well, actually, I'll be at one of them, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, let's go to it. Warrington against St Helens. What a game. I mean, Warrington on a hell of a run against the Saints. There's no doubt about that. Can that come to an end? Paul Rowley, great record against Warrington. Look what he did with Salford at the Halliwell Jones last season. His first game. What's his starting 17 going to be? What's Sam Burgess' starting 17 going to be? A lot of surgery done in both teams. That is going to be a great game of rugby league, that one. Superstars of the future on show as well. Will Kai Taylor-Ray get the #1 star on the night? Will Dagnall be back? We know Harry Robertson, his box office. There's just so much. And Jackson Hastings, his debut. There's so much to be excited about that one. St Helens against Warrington at the Halliwell Jones on the Friday night. I, for one, really looking forward to that. And then, of course, Lee taking on the Leeds Rhinos, 3rd against 4th last year. What a game that's going to be. Can Leeds be as luxurious on the taste buds as they were last season? Lee Leopards, what are they all about this year? Again, both teams, expansive rugby league teams. That's going to be a great night, isn't it? Friday the 13th. It's going to be a horror show for someone, but what a night that is going to be. One not to be missed. Brilliant fixtures. If we then go to Saturday, and again, Saturday's fascinating because, of course, the 2 new promoted sides are going to be involved on the Saturday. Tell you what, I don't mind telling you folks, the L Pinkies are getting a little bit cold here holding this phone. Anyway, we move swiftly on. But yeah, like I say, great Saturday. We've got the Bradford Bulls and we've got Toulouse Olympic on the telly on the Saturday. That's going to be interesting, isn't it? So we've got Bradford going to the MKM, and we know that Hull FC last year didn't have the best of records in the home ground. So that's going to be interesting. And, let's not forget Wakefield Trinity last year went to Headingley and they did a number on Leeds. So, these promoted teams, we can't take them for granted, but we're going to learn a lot about them. How will Bradford go against FC? How will Toulouse go in their game against Wakefield? Of course, both of those two teams played each other in 2024 in the Championship. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Really interesting. Nobody expected Toulouse to come through in the grand final last year. York were in great form going into that grand final, but they came through and they got the job done. They were the Championship winners in the grand final. So, like I say, we're going to find a lot out about Bradford. We're going to find a lot out about Toulouse, which is good. But like I say, such a shame that one of those Friday games didn't go to Sunday, because on Sunday it's going to be Castleford Tigers taking on the Wigan Warriors. And of course, most people would expect a Wigan win there. Of course they will. But this is Ryan Carr's first outing as coach at Castleford. Castleford last year, again, a bit of a dog's dinner. I think Castleford would have probably got far more headlines last year had it not been for Salford. I think a lot of people looking at Castleford this year in terms of what they're about. They've done so much surgery to the three quarters. Is that good surgery? We saw Catalan. Already mentioned Catalan in this post. Last year they brought players in, some coveted, the likes of Tommy Mason, and I'm not singling out Tommy. He scored 9 tries. He's a good player. He didn't get the service. Kotrick, bit of miss, if truth be told. Tavita Pangai Jr. nowhere near good enough. There's a lot of problems there for the Catalan Dragons, and it's the same with Castleford Tigers. Will these players hit the ground running, and are they the right players for the Castleford Tigers? We're going to find out on the 14th of February, folks. Is it the 14th? 15th of February. So that's going to be interesting as well. So like I say, so much narrative. It's a great day. We can start getting excited now. The first round fixtures are out. Tomorrow we're going to get the full fixture list. We're going to be doing a special live, because we're going to be picking out from the fixture list some key games, the round, games of the round, that type of thing. Some really key moments, pinch points in the season. So we'll be doing a live at some point during tomorrow morning with regards to that, the launch of the full fixture list for all clubs. But yeah, I mean, in terms of round one, I think we've got a great round one. I really, really do. You'd expect KR to come through York. What are York all about? But that said, if KR decide to not show them the proper respect, which I think they will do, don't get me wrong, but if they didn't show them the proper respect, York could pick them off like Wakefield did Leeds last year. What York are we going to get? We're going to find out. In terms of the Catalan Dragons against Huddersfield Giants, toss a coin, folks. The same with Wire against Saints, and exactly the same against Leeds. Toss a coin. Brilliant fare. Fantastic fixtures to start a brand new season of Super League. They are going to be really, really good games. And then, hang on a second. Here we go. Catalan versus Huddersfield on Saturday as well. 3 games on Saturday. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not disputing that. I mean, obviously, there's the delayed times. That's Daniel Long. There's the delayed times. The Catalan game will kick off at 7 p.m. where, the game's on the Friday 8. I get your point. There'll be a bit of a crossover there. Absolutely. I think they need to utilise the Saturday and Sundays more, Daniel. I really, really do. No question about that. But like I say, those 3 fixtures, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And then of course we go to the Saturday, and again, will there be an upset there? There potentially could be. Bradford and Toulouse. It's going to be fascinating to see how those 2 teams go up against teams that finished in the bottom. In an FC's case, the bottom, only 7th, of course, but in the bottom half of the table. Again, there's worse fixtures to get for your opening contest. And then of course Wakey. Can Wakey go again? And how will Toulouse fare? Nobody expected, like I say, Toulouse to win that championship, and they did. So that's going to be a great game. And then Castleford, we'd expect a Wigan win. Of course we would. But what about Ryan Carr's Castleford? What's that going to look like? Is that 3-quarter surgery going to be a good one? Is the pack big enough? That's a big question. Coming up against a real big pack in terms of Wigan. Will it be Oliver Wilson's debut for the Wigan Warriors? I don't know about you folks. I just love it when these things come up. The narrative has already started. We're only in November. A very crisp November, let's be said. But we're only in November, and here we go. We can start to dream. We can start to look at fixtures. We can start to get excited. This is what it's all about. If you're a Super League fan, if you're a Super League purist, happy days today. Lots to debate. So who do you think is going to win those opening contests, ladies and gentlemen? Get in the chat. Who do you think are going to come out with 2 points in those opening games? Will we get a golden point? Will we get a draw? So much to talk about. We'll be back with a live tomorrow when the full fixture list is out. But from me to you, I hope you've enjoyed this very quick, instant reaction. Super League is on the way. We'll see you very, very soon. Look after yourselves. Bye for now.